guys, what's up? It's Rachel back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing this tag that I've seen here. I've watched a few people do it, and it's pretty much if I could only keep one from one brand when it comes to your eyeshadow palettes. So for instance, one of the brands that I'm going to be talking about in here is Huda Beauty, and I'm going to show you every palette that I have from her, and I'm only going to pick one. So if I could only pick one from her brand, what would I keep? I have 5 different brands to talk about, but other than that, I don't think I have any updates in this video, except if you are new here, welcome to my channel. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you would like, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and you can also hit the bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. But other than that, let's go ahead and get started with the palettes. So one of the 5 brands that I picked is Tarte, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. The first Tarte palette, I guess you would consider this a palette, but this is what it looks like. This was one of their holiday palettes, and when you open it up, it has all of these eyeshadows in it, and it also has this separate palette with it. I don't really use this. The quality is just okay. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's just okay. The next one that I have is called... This is the Foil Finger Paints Shadow Palette, and this is what it looks like. The packaging is gorgeous on this, and the quality on this is really nice. You don't have any mattes in here. Again, you just have those foil eyeshadows, but they are absolutely gorgeous, very stunning, and this is what the palette looks like. The next palette I have here is the Love, Trust, and Fairy Dust palette, and this is what the packaging looks like. Very pretty, and the quality on this is really nice as well. This is what the inside looks like. I have this one that I talk a lot about here on my channel. This is the Make Believe in Yourself palette. Very pretty packaging, and I have got a lot of use out of this. It comes with all those foil shades, you have shimmer shades, and then you have this one matte here, which is a very nice transition. I have this one that I recently, it wasn't too long ago, I had received it in a BoxyCharm, and this is the Be You Naturally palette, and this is what the packaging looks like. And then on the inside, you have your basic neutrals. The next one I have here is the Tartelette palette, and this one I have talked a lot about here on my channel. I don't like this palette at all. This is what the packaging looks like. This is a cool tone matte palette, and this is what it looks like on the inside. I don't like this palette at all. They're very stiff, very chalky. They don't blend well, and I just don't use it. I never grab for it, but I keep it in the collection because I do have the other 2 palettes. But this product has been featured in a disappointing palettes video and a disappointing products, and I'm pretty sure I put it in a Sephora anti-haul. I have talked a lot about this here on my channel. I just don't recommend it. I don't like it. The next Tarte palette that I have is the Tartelette in Blooms palette. The packaging is really pretty on this, but I don't like it any better than I do the first one. It's okay, but this is what it looks like. This palette compared to the first one is more warm tone, and you do have a mixture of shimmers and mattes, while in the other one you only have mattes. But the formula is just not there for me. I don't know what it is. I don't really gravitate toward these palettes. I just have so many palettes that have better formulas than this, and I don't really think it's worth it. Especially considering that these are $40-some, and I have palettes that are $40-some that work so much better than these. And then the next one I have is the Tartelette Toasted palette, and this is what this one looks like. This is the latest one that they came out with, even though it has been a long time that they came out with it, but this is what it looks like on the inside, and this is a warm tone palette. You do have a mixture of shimmers and mattes, and this one is pretty good. This one is not that bad, but I do have warm tone palettes that I prefer over this, but out of all 3 of them, this one is the best. And then I have this Tarte palette in collab with Aspen Ovard. If you are familiar with her channel here on YouTube, this is what the palette looks like, and I have to say that this is one of the prettiest palettes that I have ever seen just to look at. I love the packaging on it, and the quality was really nice in this as well. This is a good everyday neutral palette. It does have mattes and shimmers, and then it also comes with a blush and a highlight. So this is what the inside of the palette looks like. I have gotten a lot of use out of this palette, and again, it's just a really nice collab. I feel like it was a solid collab. The quality was definitely there, and the packaging was beautiful, so this was a good one from Tarte. And a long time ago, it wasn't that, well, I mean, it's been like a year, but when I first started my channel, I'd done a review on this palette. The next one from Tarte that I have is called, I don't see the name on it anywhere, but this is the Mermaid palette. This is the one that looks like a mermaid, the packaging. This is what it looks like on the outside, and then when you open it up, you have a mixture of shimmers, mattes, and metallics. These are pretty, but I will say that I don't grab for this a whole lot, and I feel like it's probably because of the packaging. It's kind of like annoying. It's cute, don't get me wrong, but the packaging is annoying, and I do like it, but I don't love it. And then the next palette that I have here from Tarte is the High Tides and Good Vibes palette, and this is what it looks like. You can see it move around in there. This is very pretty packaging, and it's very heavy. It feels expensive. And then when you open it up, you have matte shades, you have pressed glitters, and you have shimmer shades in here, and this is what it looks like. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this palette. I have made some really pretty looks with it. This is a newer release, I would say, from Tarte, and I really do enjoy it. I don't have anything bad to say about this, but I know that not everybody is a pressed glitter fan, so if you're not into that, then you won't like this palette. The next one that I have is the Lemonade palette, I'm pretty sure it's called. And this is a collab with Adeline Morin. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. I do watch her channel, but this is what it looks like on the outside. Very pretty packaging, and when you open it up, it is a warm tone palette. It's very pigmented. These shadows are very intense. These are the most intense warm tones that I have ever tried. They're really gorgeous, and especially for the summer. And then you do have a very pretty highlight here and a pretty blush. The quality on this is just really nice. I feel like they should stick with what they're doing here because they're just very pigmented, very smooth, very blendable. And I don't have any issues with this palette. I really do enjoy it. So again, this is the Lemonade palette with Adeline Morin. The next Tarte palette that I have here is the Swamp Queen palette. And this is the collab with Graveyard Girl. And this is what the packaging looks like. Very cool. This is very her. I love the packaging on it. You have 9 eyeshadows. You have a highlight, you have a blush, and you have a bronzer. I really do enjoy the quality of this as well. I feel like the shadows are very smooth. They're very blendable. I have used this palette a lot, actually. This is a good everyday palette as well, and I just really do enjoy the quality. The next Tarte palette that I have here is the Tarteist Pro palette. I absolutely love this palette. I have got a ton of use out of this. Every time I wear this palette, someone stops me and they ask me what I'm wearing, and it's always been this. I love this palette. There's just so many options in here. The mattes are very different from their Tarteist palettes, like the ones that I don't like. For some reason, these are much more smoother and just very blendable and very pigmented, and I don't really have a problem with these at all. I love the looks that I have created with this, and I'm a fan of this palette. Again, this is what it looks like. All of these are mattes, and then you have these metallic shades right here, and they're very intense without wetting your brush. So highly recommend this palette. If you're someone that you're new to makeup, this is definitely the palette that I would go with. This is one of the first palettes that I had ever bought with my naked palettes, and I really do enjoy it till this day. This is what I grabbed for. Then I have the Tarteist Pro Remix eyeshadow palette. This is what it looks like. Very pretty packaging, I will say. And then when you open it up, you have some more colorful shades for Tarte anyway. And this is what it looks like. You have these metallic shades, but you also have some shimmers and metallics thrown in there. These are not all just mattes like the other one is. Very, very pretty shades, and I really do enjoy this palette as well. It's the same formula as the Tarteist Pro palette. Then I have this little baby palette. This is the Double Duty Beauty Eye and Cheek palette. It's just a little palette like this. This is a nice little travel palette. It has 6 shadows and a blush in here, and this one you can do like liner with. That's what it's intended for. Very pretty. This is just a little on-the-go thing. I do enjoy it, but it's not my favorite from Tarte. It's not the best quality. The next one that I have here is the Sizzle eyeshadow palette, and this is what it looks like here. Very pretty packaging, and when you open it up, you have more of those rosy shades. I really do like this palette, but I will say that it's not my favorite. I don't dislike it. I don't love it. I think it's just okay, and I feel like the main reason I bought this was for the packaging, but it's nice. It's just not my favorite. The next palette that I have here is the Pineapple palette, the one that they released during the holidays, and this is what it looks like. So when you open it up, you have eyeshadows on one side, and then you have blushes and a bronzer and a highlighter on the other. This is what it looks like. I'm going to try not to blind you guys. This is pretty good. I will say that the packaging is very annoying to use it. I feel like that's the main reason that I bought it. The colors are like Tarte. When you look at it, you think, yeah, that's Tarte. I definitely didn't need this palette. I feel like I just bought it just because of the packaging, and I never really reached for it. The quality is okay, but it's nothing special. Then I have this little baby palette. This is the Tartelette Flirt palette, and this is like a little travel palette. They do these, I think they have another version of this, and this is what the inside looks like. You have just warm tone mattes. You have a few shimmers and a few mattes. Just a good everyday palette. I do reach for this and I really do like it. I feel like this is a very nice travel palette. If I ever do travel, this is what I would take with me. The quality is the same as the Tarte's Pro palettes, and that's my favorite formula from Tarte. I don't like the Tarte lip palettes, and I think that was meant to be the same formula as the Tarte's Pro, but it's not in my opinion. I don't think it's nothing compared to the others, but again, this is what it looks like, and it does have the same formula, and I really do enjoy it. So finally, I think that is all the palettes that I have from Tarte, unless I missed a few in my drawers. I don't think that I did. But out of all of those, my favorite definitely has to be the Tarte's Pro palettes. I grab for this a lot till this day. I always wear it and people ask me what I'm wearing. They just blend out so nice, and the metallic shades are really nice as well. You don't have to wet them, and you do have a lot of options of what you can do. There's a good variety in here. This is my favorite formula, and when I did work at Ulta, I'd always recommend this palette. A lot of people would go toward the Tarte lip palettes, and I always told them how I didn't like those, and I'd always talk them into this one because this one is my favorite. The formula is just different, and if I could only pick one, it would definitely be this. The next brand I want to talk about is Natasha Denona, and I have quite a few of her palettes, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. The first one I have here is her newest release, I'm pretty sure, and this is the Sunrise palette. I have talked about this a lot here on my channel, and this is what it looks like when you open it up. You have some really gorgeous shades in here, metallics and shimmers and mattes. Very warm tone, and I love this orangey shade right here. Very pretty, very pinky, plummy, just rosy, just very purplish in my opinion. I love this palette, and this is the cheapest palette that she has come out with. Considering how big it is, she does have her minis, and those retail for $25, but she came out with this palette, and this retails for $65. I've heard people say it different ways, but this is the Lila or Lila palette. This is what it looks like on the outside, and then when you open it up, it's like pinky, and has those pinky purple shades, and some good transition shades and browns, and just things that you need to deepen up the crease. Very pretty shades, and I really do enjoy this palette. I feel like Natasha Denona's formula can't be beat, and that's just my opinion. I really do believe in her formula, and I feel like you are definitely getting what you are paying for. But I love the formula on these, and I can't say enough good things about Natasha Denona. I talk about her a lot here on my channel. The next one I have here is the Gold palette, and this is what it looks like. Again, this is absolutely gorgeous on the inside. The formula is definitely there. Very pretty metallic shades, very pretty neutrals, and these metallic shades are very intense. I love this palette, and this is what this one looks like. The next one I have here is the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, and this is a bunch of warm tones. If you are a warm tone lover, then you definitely need this palette. You have some very pretty options in here. This is perfect for the summer, and you have some pretty metallic shades and very pretty mattes, and the mattes blend out so easily. They're never patchy. I've never had an issue with that, but this is what it looks like, and I highly recommend this palette. I love it. The next palette I have here is the Safari palette, and this is what it looks like on the outside, and this is a all matte palette. These mattes blend out so well for me, guys. This is what it looks like on the inside. Some very nice transition shades and very nice shades to deepen up the crease. I just love this palette. If you're somebody that you're wanting to build up your collection, I would definitely go with this because you have a lot of mattes and they're very useful. And like I said before, you just have some awesome transition shades and shades to deepen up the crease. And this is just a nice palette. You could literally have this palette and then buy a bunch of singles like little metallic shades and just you wouldn't be set. The next palette I have here is the Tropic palette, and this is what it looks like on the outside. And then when you open it up, you have a mixture of mattes and metallics. This is what it looks like. Very pretty. The next palette that I have here is the Star palette, and this is what it looks like. I picked this up when I was with my husband in New York, and I did haul this here on my channel. This is one that I had wanted for a long time, and it does say limited edition, but they've had it out forever. This is one that I was missing, and I definitely wanted to pick it up. This is what it looks like on the inside, and this is a very pretty palette, but I will say this is more suited toward the fall time. I feel like I'd get more use out of it then, but these are absolutely gorgeous. The metallics are very intense, and the mattes blend so well. I love Natasha Denona's formula. Then I have a couple of her 5-pan palettes. So this one is the Cranberry palette. I love this palette. This works so well for me. This is what it looks like on the inside. Love it. Highly recommend it if you can still get your hands on it. Love it. And then I have the Aries palette. This was a holiday release, and this is what it looks like on the inside. I might open it up just a little bit, but this shade over here wants to fall out. She had a problem with that when they first came out. I love these shades, and this one I really did grab for a lot. I love how intense they are, and I wear shades like this a lot, especially this shade right here. I wear a lot of reddish, orangish eyeshadow, so I love this palette. I just hate that that one falls out. It really gives me anxiety. And then I have two of her mini palettes. The first one is the mini Lila or Lila palette. I don't like this palette. I feel like the minis are not as good as her bigger palettes, but I do own it. I have talked about this before here on my channel. I put it in disappointing products videos. I don't recommend this, and I don't think it's nothing compared to her bigger palette. And then I have the mini Star palette. I've had this one first before I had the bigger Star palette, and I really do like this one actually. It doesn't give me any trouble, and I feel like the look is very soft, but it's very pretty. That is all the Natasha Denona palettes that I own, and out of all of those, I would definitely go with the Sunset palette. This one, if you're a warm tone lover, you need this. I just love the shades. Again, Natasha Denona's formula doesn't disappoint, and the colors are absolutely gorgeous. The metallic shades are very intense, and the mattes blend out so easily. So this would definitely be the one that I would keep. The next brand we're going to talk about is Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I do have a lot of her palettes as well, so we're just going to go ahead and get started with these. The first one that I have here is the Riviera palette, and this is what it looks like on the outside. Literally, when I was trying to pull all these palettes out, I broke one of the shades, so that's disappointing. But this is what it looks like on the inside. Very, very pretty, and this is one of my favorites. The next palette that I have here is the Alyssa Edwards palette. Now, I have talked about this here on my channel, and this wasn't my favorite. I feel like the quality, it's not bad, it's not great, but it's just good, I guess. And I honestly don't really know why I don't like it, and that's something that I mentioned in the video. Huda Beauty, when it comes to their palettes, some of them have a stiffer formula when it comes to the mattes, and honestly, they work out really well for me. And usually, I complain about how Anastasia's eyeshadows are powdery, and the mattes in here are very stiff, and I still, for some reason, don't like it, and I don't know what it is. I don't want to say that I don't like it, I just don't love it. But again, this is the Alyssa Edwards palette, and this is what it looks like on the inside. The next palette that I have here is the Sultry palette, and I'm pretty sure this came out around the holidays. This is a cool tone palette. You have a good mixture of shimmers and mattes, and I really do enjoy this one as well. The next palette I have here is the Modern Renaissance, and I have used the crap out of this palette. Mine is so dirty. I used to grab for this every day, and this is what the palette looks like on the inside. It's a warm tone palette. You have a good variety of mattes and shimmers, and very nice transition shades as well. This is one of my favorites. Then I have the Norvina palette, and this is what mine looks like on the outside. And then when you open it up, I had actually busted this palette. I dropped it one day, and this is what it looks like. So it's very messy. And I remember wanting this palette so bad when it came out. I just thought these shades were very pretty, and this is something that I would grab for a lot. I remember calling my husband on his way home from work, and I was like, will you stop and get me this palette? And he did. I will never get rid of this palette because of that, but I do need a new one because I'm a little afraid to use it. I still use it. I'm afraid of that I'm going to make it even worse because it is a little bit broken, but I love the mattes in here. They blend really well for me, and these metallic shades look wet on the eyes, so highly recommend this if you haven't tried it. Next one I have here is the Soft Glam, and this is what it looks like on the outside. And then when you open it up, you have your basic neutrals with a few pops down here. Very pretty, and I know a lot of people really do love this one. And then I have the Prism palette, and this is what it looks like on the outside. And then on the inside, you have a mixture of shimmers, mattes, and metallics. This is what it looks like, and I will say that this one is definitely not my favorite. People have even found this one at TJ Maxx and Marshalls for a discounted price, and I can understand why. I feel like this is not Anastasia's best, and I'm pretty sure that this was released around the holidays as well. I don't know what it is, but every time I use this palette, I never like the way that my eyes turn out. The next palette that I have here is the Subculture palette, and this is also found at TJ Maxx and Marshalls for a discounted price. And then when you open it up, the colors in here are very unique, but the formula just messes with me. I can't deal with it. That's why I don't even pull it out to use it, because it aggravates me. The fallout is crazy, and the mattes are just, they're so powdery, which that's nothing new to Anastasia. Her eyeshadows have always been really powdery, but this is on a different level. So, and then the next one that I have is an older palette. This is really old. This is the Self-Made palette. And then on the inside, this is what it looks like. I did get a ton of use. This is not from dropping or anything. I used the crap out of this. I love the colors in here, and I used to use this all the time. You have a good variety of mattes and shimmers and metallics. And the colors in here are very different. Some of these, you question why they are even in there, but then when you start playing with it, you understand. I know for me, anyways, that was how it is. And this is what it looks like on the inside. I do have the World Traveler palette. This is an old palette as well. And this is what it looks like on the inside. I got a ton of use out of this as well. Very, very pretty, and I really do love the formula of this. Then I have the Artist Palette. This is what it looks like on the outside. And then when you open it up, this is what you got going on the inside. I got a lot of use out of this as well. I really do enjoy these older palettes. I'm sure a lot of people has probably thrown them away and probably think they're expired, but I still keep them because I'm a collector. And every now and then I do dip into a shade. Then I have the Anastasia Lavish Palette. This is what it looks like. This is so old. When you open it up, it actually slides out. That's how you know how old it is. But this is what it looks like. Very pretty. And I will say that this is one of my favorite Anastasia palettes like ever. I just love the colors in here. Very nice transition shades. I love this palette. I remember when I was younger and I'd watch YouTube and everybody had this palette and they talked about it all the time. And I actually got mine from Amazon, I'm pretty sure. So this one was kind of hard for me because I really do love the Modern Renaissance and I really do love the Riviera palettes, but I honestly think that the winner has to go to the Norvina palette. I just love the way these metallics are. I feel like these metallics are different from all of her other palettes. These look wet on the lids, and the selection of colors that they chose was just perfect. I love this palette, and I hope that she comes out with a sister palette to this because I love the colors. I love the formula of the mattes. They blend out so well. They're so smooth, and the metallics are very wet and shiny, and I just love this palette. I love these types of colors on me. The next brand of palettes that I have to talk about are my Huda palettes. I love Huda Beauty when it comes to their eyeshadows. I actually love a lot of her products in general. But the first one that I have to talk about is the Textured Rose Gold Eyeshadow Palette. This is what it looks like. I have the older version. I used to use the crap out of this palette, especially when I worked at Ulta. I just love the way the mattes blend, but the textured shades at the top have a lot of fallout. If you have this palette, which you probably know by now if you already have this palette, this is what it looks like on the inside. The mattes, however, are very stiff and they blend out really well for me. The next palette I have here is the Desert Dust palette, and I really do enjoy this as well. I feel like the colors are very pretty and very unique. I do have a little cover seal in it. This is what it looks like. Very, very pretty, and I highly recommend this palette. I love the way it works for me. You do have a lot of different formulas in here. You have some shimmers and metallics and mattes, and you do have a pressed glitter here. Just very, very pretty, and I highly recommend this palette. The next one I have here is the New Nude palette, and I rave about this all the time here on my channel. The mattes work so well for me. They blend out so smooth, and the shimmer shades are very pretty. I always love shades like this, and I had a hard time finding them. These shades remind me of the Naked 3, but when I purchased the Naked 3 a long time ago, I never did like the quality of it. It didn't blend well for me, and they were very just chalky with no color payoff. And this is the complete opposite. I talk about this all the time here on my channel. If you don't have this, you definitely need it, especially if you're looking for colors like this. You will not be disappointed. The mattes are so nice, and these shimmer shades are very pretty. I just highly recommend it, and this is one of my favorites. And then I have some of her mini palettes. I have the Topaz Obsessions, and this is what it looks like. This looks like pumpkin spice to me. This is going to be really nice for the fall time. I think I would grab for this a ton. And then I have the Gemstone Obsessions palette. And this is really pretty as an accent palette. I like to go in with another palette and, you know, have my mattes. But I do like to pop one of these shades on the lid. They're very, very pretty. The next one I have here is the Coral Obsessions. And this is what it looks like on the outside. And when you open it up, you have a mixture of shimmers and mattes. This is not my favorite, and I will say when I go into this palette, I can only use one or two of the shades because if I try to make a full look with this palette, it all clashes together and it doesn't look that nice. So when I use this, I use one or two of the shades. The next one I have here is the Warm Brown Obsessions, and I really do enjoy this one. I picked this one up when I was in New York, and this is what it looks like on the inside. You have a good variety of mattes, and then you have that one shimmer shade. So everything that you do with the mattes in here, you can pop this one on the lid and it'll definitely work. I really love this palette, and it's one of my favorites. And then one of my favorites as well is the Mauve Obsessions palette, and this is what it looks like on the outside. This is so pretty, you guys. I know a lot of you guys probably have this. The shimmers in here are really nice. The mattes in here, they're very pigmented. I feel like that's one of Huda's strong points is her eyeshadow palettes. I mean, they're some of the best in my opinion. I love this. It's definitely one of my favorites. But if I could only pick one out of Huda Beauty palettes, it would definitely be the New Nude. I talk about this all the time here on my channel. I think I put it in a favorites video or something. I'm not really sure, but I highly recommend this. I can't say enough good things about it. The formula is just there for me. It works so nice. And if you're into these colors, you definitely should check this one out. Now, the last brand that I have to talk about is from NARS, and this brand I don't have that many eyeshadow palettes from, but I have a ton of their blush palettes. I love their blush palettes. Every time they come out with one, I feel like I need it, like I'm a collector. But the first one that I have here was a holiday release, and this is called the Glass Tears eyeshadow palette. This is what it looks like on the outside, and this is what it looks like on the inside. I will say that this palette is very grungy. I feel like there's a time and a place for this, for me anyway. I do love the quality of it. It works very nice, but this is not something that I grab for all the time. I'm more bright and colorful, if anything. The next palette I have from NARS is the Wanted palette, and this is what it looks like. I love this palette. I talk about it all the time here on my channel. This is my favorite palette. Like, if I could only keep one palette in general, it would definitely be this. The formula on this is so nice. It has a different formula, especially the metallic shades. They have a formula that I have never felt before, and you just have really nice transition shades and very pretty of those metallic shades. I just can't say enough good things. I've raved about this all the time here on my channel. This is what it looks like, and if you haven't tried this palette, you definitely need it. Then I have the second version of that palette, and it is called the Ignited, and this is what the packaging looks like. Very pretty. And then when you open it up, very pretty. I feel like this palette, the more I think about it, it's tied with this one. Like, I definitely use this one more, but I love the shades in here, and it has the same formula. Like, those metallics feel so different. Like, I've never felt a formula like that. And the mattes feel the same as the Wanted palette. I'm telling you guys, these you cannot beat. You definitely need these. I hope they make more palettes and just keep adding on to this. Like, keep coming out with the same formula in different colors, because this is one of my favorites. And like I said before, if I could only keep one palette in general, it would definitely be the Wanted palette. I've done a video here on my channel where I talked about if I could only keep one product in each category, like eyeshadow palettes, foundations, concealers. I've done a video on that, and if you want to see it, you can go check it out here on my channel. But again, love this palette. I love the colors in here. They're so pretty, and I feel like this is a perfect spring summer palette. Then the last eyeshadow palette that I have here from NARS is the Skin Deep palette, and this is what it looks like on the outside. And then when you open it up, this is a very pretty cool toned neutral eyeshadow palette. Very unique. I feel like you don't really see a lot of cool tone neutral eyeshadow palettes. The only one that I can really think of is the Sultry palette from Anastasia. This formula works so well, and I love that these shadows are one of those that you can definitely put one of the metallic shades on the lid and just blend it up and have a one look. Or you could do the same thing with these mattes right here. Just use one all over the crease and blend it kindly on your lid and have a one eyeshadow look. This is so nice, you guys. I just love the quality of NARS eyeshadow palettes. I love the quality of NARS. NARS is probably my favorite brand. NARS is a brand that when I see that they've come out with new products, I truly do get excited about it. I just don't have a lot of their eyeshadow palettes. I have a good amount, but I feel like, I don't know, I don't really see them come out with a whole lot of eyeshadow palettes. If anything, they come out with a lot of blush palettes, and I'm all about that. So you guys already probably know, but if I could only pick one, it would definitely be the Wanted palette. I mentioned this, if I could only pick one in each category. I love this palette. This is probably my favorite palette ever. It is my favorite palette ever. Like, if I could only have one, this is it. You need this palette. But other than that, that is everything in the video. If I could only pick one video, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I just want to thank you guys so much for being here and supporting and just watching and commenting and liking. It honestly means the world to me, and don't think that you go unnoticed, because I truly see it and I truly do appreciate it. But before you go, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell below so you're notified every time I upload a video. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!